He's still keeping around, and he is here today, right down here in front of us.
Sorry, not doing it this time.
We all know Dad working for you, Mom, and a few of you other key people are still in this room. There would not be here today, almost 33 years later. They had no clue. So for you to understand just how important it is, we want you to be able to see and hear how we got here, why we're sitting here. Got some notes, because I don't want to miss anything. It's pretty good. So I want you to know that they started this premiere, they were retired. I think you've heard a lot of that. I think you've heard the fact that Dad and Mom, they really came all the way from, he came from Ireland, Belfast. Mom was in Canada. Dad tells the story as a young boy being protected from an alcoholic father by his older brothers. And as the older brothers left, they let you know that they went to different parts of the world, like the United States or Canada. As they left, I think the protection kind of softened, and his mom, his dad being the baby of the family, they came to the United States. But they ended up coming to America. And as they showed up, not in America, they ended up coming to Canada. I'm sorry, they ended up in Belfast, not in. I do this every Saturday morning. I think my mind, Mom always wanted to come to the United States for some reason, so Dad and Mom came. And most of you can tell the story that are here, but if you're for your first time here, they came from Ontario, Canada. They went to Boston, Massachusetts. Dad had a brother. They're hoping to get over and get a job, and they did work there for a short time. But as that ended, or the family things, got in the way, they ended up heading to Texas because there was a connection there in Texas that they were looking for, that my mom had met years ago. But they went to Austin. Then they ended up in Dallas. So I want you now to listen to a little bit of this story as I've tried to summarize it. Thinking as you listen to the Miracle Biscuit Company and understanding from the founder's own words how this all got started. So now listen to the founder, Andy Horner.
My mother was way past her childbearing days, and she was like in her 40s, and she had 12 before, actually 16, but 12 lived, and for a long time they thought I was a tumor, and she was absolutely shocked when they found out it was me. Now my mother, as you know, told me I was an angel of pride from heaven sent, and she loved me. But the rest of the family thought I was sent from somewhere else, and I was totally rejected. And it just really has bothered me. And the way I am today is because of the rejection of my family, but the love of my mother. I used to send her a wire on my birthday every year on August the 5th, just congratulate me. 3 foot wide and a little long, and you walk in a very narrow hall, and you come into the room, and you have a fireplace there, coals, and then you had 2 gas lamps on the wall. You used to put pennies in the gas lamps, and then in the back corner was a little bedroom, maybe about 5 by 6 with my mom and dad, and a little pantry, and we'd walk to the outhouse in the back. But when you come in, there were stairs going up, and one big master room upstairs where we all had to sleep. And as I told, before, many times you go to bed last so you could sleep on top, but it was unbelievable. The interesting thing about it, we were very poor in the neighborhood we lived in, but we didn't know we were poor. This was a Friday before my dad came home from work. He didn't know anything about this. And we went to the Belfast, what they call the Belfast was locked and took a tender. But all of her Christian friends came with us, and the boat would take us out to the Duchess of Richmond, which was sitting out in Belfast Bay. I'll never forget getting on that boat. I saw the chandeliers and the beautiful silverware. I'm 6 years old, and the people come on to visit with us. I'm running around town. Better get off. We're going. Better get off. We're going. But the one thing I remember when I came across, and we came in near Nova Scotia, and I remember getting on that train, and we didn't know how far we had to go. We had to go to Woodstock, which is in the middle of Ontario, I'd say 1,000 miles or plus. We got into Woodstock and nobody met us. There had been some miscommunications, and my brother didn't even know we were coming. So we had to get a taxi cab to try to find out where he lived. When we walked in on him, he nearly fainted. Just had a little apartment, and we all moved in. And he moved out in about 2 weeks. That was in that apartment, which we stayed in for 19 years. So we bought a car to take all of our equipment, clean equipment, and it was a 34 Ford. Once I got the 34 Ford, I attracted a lot of friends. At the same time, Joan starts going with one of my best friends. And they're going together for a long time. And I'm going with one of her best friends. It took you 17 and a half, and that was in 1943. The war started in 39, and so I got enlisted in the Navy. And then I went to signal school for the first 6 months, and then on convoy duty, and then into what we call striking forces. I was on the North Escapel Flow run up to Murmansk, which is through the White Archangel Sea, the roughest run in the whole war. And while on that, we were attacked a lot. And every time we were attacked and go to alarm stations, I would rededicate my life. And I'm the most rededicated Christian that you're ever going to see in earth. I've been rededicated my life so many times. Out of high school. But then when I came back on leave one night, I'm walking downtown and she's in the shoe store and she sees me and she hollers out. And I saw her. She says, we're having a party at our house tomorrow night. My mom and dad is gone. Why don't you come? I'd like to come over. No, she's split from Bill. And they weren't going together anymore. So I went over to the party that night. Second night on leave. We met for 28 nights in a row, dating, and at that time we were dancing, and we'd go out to the ballrooms and dance together and had a wonderful time. So then I went back and we started writing. And we have a whole chest full of letters she's hid. She won't let anybody see them, but letters that we wrote back and forth, just a chest full while I'm in the Navy. So the war ended, and so I came back home, got a discharge, and then we were courting. And then we were married. So I had a lot of money then. When I got out of the service, I got $348, what they call exit money. And we had $348, which we bought. And I got furniture. They give you coupons for furniture as servicemen. So sometimes I wonder if Joan married me for that money. Because we did get married. And it was a miracle.
It's one of the great storytellers. You see where we're coming from. You have a founder, great partner, my mother, Joan. And about that time, as they came to the States, they end up in Dallas. They stay in Dallas, and they work through the corporate structures, and Dad moved us all around. He took us up to, I've shared this before, but part of my story is he took us to places I didn't mind. He was worked for the Johnson Wax Company, which is Johnson now. And he was a corporate guy, so he was trying to work his way up the ladder, which is what you did back in that day, that generation. So anytime there's a job opening, you either jumped at it or you just lost it. So he would get an opportunity, he'd say yes right away, come home and tell Mom to start packing, and she wouldn't get too happy about that. And so he would come around looking for support from the kids. So I remember I was just a little old guy, and he'd come in and say, hey, we're going to move to Wisconsin. Don't you want to go? I said, yeah, okay. And he said, I said, why? He said, I'm going to buy you a pair of ice skates. Teach you how to ice skate in the backyard. And I go, oh boy, I'm in. So we run around and tell Mom we want to go. So he was kind of working it with the kids because he knew my mother was not interested. So they packed up and drive up there. And that lasted a couple of years. And Mom said, that's enough of this. And I think Dad decided he was going to be an entrepreneur. So they hit to East Texas. And again, he had to kind of get everybody on board, so he promises me something else. I'm pretty easy at that age. So he said, okay, hey, you go to this new class and you're going to like it, and I'm going to buy you a new bicycle. I said, oh, boy, I'm in. I'm probably about the 3rd grade. And so it's pretty easy when you're in the 3rd grade to be manipulated by your parents. You don't know that. So we get to this Bay Barnes, Texas, and all I can think about is the bike. That's all I got in my head. We're moving in, they're unpacking bikes, we're staying some old radio place on the highway. I remember this because you left. I'll tell that story in a minute, Dad. But all I can think about is a bicycle that my father promised me so that I would support his move to East Texas. They did their own thing. Actually, Mom was in favor of this one because she was closer back to Dallas, her home and friends. But we get there, and I'm waiting on the bike. I finally say, this was, gosh, I don't know how many months later, Dad, where's my bike? Oh, yeah, I got your bike, son. Got your bike, don't worry. He comes home that day with a bike. And I'm thinking, oh, man, I'm going to have this shiny little thing. It's going to be the greatest, most up-to-date little... And he comes home with something that was this big, and he must have bought it at the flea market on the way home. I couldn't hardly ride it. It was like a 24-inch. I'm this big. And he took advantage of me again. So the trust level was weakening. Next move was Dallas, because Mom just kind of, that's it. We're going back to Dallas. He got a job at Xerox. And Xerox was offering him another move. And so I pretty much calling on to the game. So he comes and he says, hey, California, Xerox, man, it's going to be great, trying to drum up support from the kids. And so he tells me, you know what we're going to do? We're going to get a sailboat. Can you believe this? Well, by then, I'm at least in the 5th grade. And I remember thinking, no, he won't give us a sailboat. But I thought, he might. I'm sitting there in my head thinking, okay, I trust him. Okay, Dad, I'm going with you. So before we could get settled on the sailboat, that whole deal crashed. And Mom just kind of finally said, that's it, we're staying in Dallas. I love this church, my family. She found the Lord there again. And so he gave in, and it was the best decision. He'll tell you later on. That whole opportunity. So God saved you from that, Dad. And my trust has been regained. Don't worry. It took some time. So how did it? So Dad then retired. Okay, they went through all this. They went to a company called Home Interiors and Gifts. And this is who you can really thank for Premier too, because there was a woman there named Mary Crowley. And I want you to see. I think we have the video of that. Do we not? Is that a yes? I want you to see the video. Am I hearing a yes on that, guys? Where Dad talks about, let me do it.
In the morning, 7 o'clock, the phone rings. This is Mrs. Can we come and get you a job? Oh no, Mrs. Richie, we have a car. You don't have to come for us. Mrs. Richie, she wants to come and get us. I climb out of bed. What are you going to bed for? Get up. I'm not getting up. She gets up and we're going to dress. And she says, we're not going, I said. Now, guys, listen to me. You got to have this kind of authority. That's biblical truth. We are in charge. So once in a while, you'll have to stand up. And that day, it got pretty arguing. But I never gave up. We're not going. I made sure of that. That big church, I've never seen a church like that. Didn't know what was happening. Convocation, women on one side, men on another. Andy in a nursery. We'd never heard of nurseries. And Joan and I. But this is absolutely amazing. I had my big Bible with the men. I didn't want anybody bugging me. She went with the women, and we'd been to Billy Graham, and she'd been under conviction, but we didn't know it. And so, as he preached very short, but prayed and prayed and prayed, and pretty soon I couldn't stand it any longer. And I kind of got a few tears. Oh, I'm tired. I just got fights. I'm going to surrender. And I walked down there. And as you know, Joan walks down at the same time. We meet at the front. She accepts Christ. I rededicated my life.
I had no idea what was ahead for me. After the service was over, there were over 100 people standing up there. And I looked out and I saw this lady just pushing everybody aside and making a beeline for somebody up there at the front. Well, that somebody was me. It was Mary Crowley. And she gave me a little card. She was a Sunday school teacher. And back then they had little business cards. And they tried to get people to come to their class. And so she gave me a card she said, I'm going to call you this week. I want to come visit with you. So Wednesday morning, Mary Crowley called me. And she asked if she could come by that evening, that afternoon, while Andrea was down for her nap and was on her way to church. And she did. She came, and the first thing she discovered, I didn't have a Bible. So the next week, she brought me a Bible. The next thing she discovered, I didn't know how to pray. Not really pray to the Lord, to the Father in heaven. So she taught me that, and then she said, now what do you want to pray for? Well, the only thing I could think of, I wanted to have another baby. So we prayed that I would get pregnant and have another baby. And Sarah's here today. She was that little girl that we prayed for. And then Mary enrolled me in Bible correspondence courses so I could learn the Bible. I took 28 of them, courses from Moody Bible Institute. And my life was much enriched by knowing Mary Crowley. I have you know about my little shovels. My sweet daughter-in-law made me one in gold and one in silver. 2 little shovels, 2 different sizes. When Mary told me this story about putting one young man from South Africa through Dallas Seminary, and to show his gratitude, he came back and brought her these shovels, and they were large shovels, and they were gold and diamonds. This is premier manufacturing. But I treasure them just as much as she did. But she wore those shovels all the time. And she told me about what they meant to her. The big shovel was representative of what God was shoveling into her life. And the little shovel was what she was trying to shovel back. He always is the greater giver. And so she wore that because she was a You can't ever outgive God. So Mary became my mentor. And eventually, we ended up with Home Interiors, working with her many years later. But Mary was an unusual person, and I really miss her. I have some pictures of her, if you can put them on, Tommy. This is, there she is. That's Mary. This song is called God's Choir. That was one of our favorite songs. I traveled with Mary a great deal. I was up in the mountain in her home. She was friends of so many influential people as Billy Graham. That's in her chapel in her home in Dallas. This is at one of their seminars. Mary in the White House. She was friends with chapel. Ethel Waters was a good friend of hers. That's a real cowboy coach, Tom Landry. Mary beside her fireside. That's her sweet husband, Dave. We loved her so much. Mary was my mentor in Premier Designs as a result of what Mary has poured into both of our lives. Thank you.
Is that something you love?
No, I didn't hear it. Thank you.
Well, that was a special woman named Crowley. Mary Crowley and Joan Warner are both very special women, of course, along with Andy. Those three are one of the very few select people who are in the Direct Selling Association's Hall of Fame. We have a strong legacy in our industry. Mary Crowley, my parents, there wouldn't be a premier without her mentoring, without her school, without her education. She and Mary Kay were that generation. They both started companies together and they both grew them. Home Interiors and Gifts got to be a huge company. The second generation worked it for a while and it was sold and they have since closed. But she passed at a relatively young age of cancer. And that's when Mom said she missed her. She missed her because she had gone to heaven not too long before that. So there's always these wonderful mentors in your life. And I'm going to tell you a story about Mary Crowley because I knew her too. And I knew her because obviously my parents, and being a fairly strong work ethic driven family and in general, as Dad worked for Mary Crowley and Home Interiors for those many years, I was the young kid who he pulled up on Saturday mornings, drove me up to the big warehouse, and I was supposed to pull the weeds and mow around the outside on Saturday mornings and get paid like a nickel. Well, I did it. So the training and work started young in our family. And work was valued, and work was important, and work had great meaning, and work meant something. I view my work as work. I view my work as a purpose, as a mission, as something that gives great value to what I do every day. And that's Premier. It's not just working hard, but it's working for a reason. And you have a reason in Premier, guys. It will drive you and motivate you to give every effort if you really catch this, okay? But Mary Crowley, she was the coolest lady for me too. I met her then. I'm a young boy. I'm young, 15, 16. And I remember distinctly having my first car was a Volkswagen. You remember how they had the trumpet in the front? Do you remember that? That was the weirdest thing. She had this little tiny engine in the back, and you go to the front of the trunk. All the other cars, of course, is the back. Well, I remember she wanted me to sod her house, put some grass in there, paying me some money, making a couple of bucks. And so I drive by the grass, put it in that trunk, that little VW, shut it, and drive all the way across down to her house. Put the 4 little pieces down I could get and go drive and get some more. And see, I'll never forget, I was working my heart out. Here comes Mary Crowley. She looks at me and said, Timmy, that's really good, but let's do it like this. And so Mary Crowley was not just a mentor at a big level. She was teaching me how you do a job. Now, that's not even what I want you to know. As I grew up and we had this opportunity in this manufacturing world, see, I'm coming from the manufacturing world. I never got this side of the business, your side. I was a vendor and I sold lots of companies that did, who had people like you. And so I was always sitting in the back of the room with these great businesses, clapping for you all and leading. I was a manufacturing guy. I love it. That's kind of my wheelhouse. I still love it. I could do that till I die. But Mary Crowley did something really great for me. We had this little company called Weaver. It was one that Dad had gotten an opportunity for me. And so I went over this like a 21 year out of college. I went to this for Home Interiors. Metal, you bend them up, put stuff on your table, candle holders, put it on the wall. That kind of thing. So I was in there, and I was just working the day and night thing, trying to figure it out, trying to learn how to be a boss and maybe someday run that, which as far as I was concerned, I was running it from day one. I didn't really know that. didn't know I was doing. I went in there, and here's what happened the first year. I worked hard, I loved it. We had these ladies who were sitting there bending and whittling metal. That's back in the day when the hair was way up here. They called them beehives. And they were sitting out there talking, and they were just doing the smoking was fine back then. And I was worried because they were only using one hand to work, and they were doing this with the other. And then they're talking to each other about what they're going to do tonight, and I'm thinking, that's like half the productivity here. I got to get two things going. And so I had a rebellion on my hands, and thanks to my father, he had this open door, so all these Mommy Clay and Lucy, and they'd all go to my dad and brag about conversations my dad and I had at this place. He'd come out and say, you know, son, you got to have some balance here. You got to have, there's people and there's production, you know, and you're very strong in production, but you got to kind of split the middle with this people thing. So he had this chart on the wall. He was trying to tell me I needed to be more people and maybe, you know, and I'm trying to think, how are we going to make money if I just go out there and tell them they're all doing good when I know they're really not doing that good, and I don't know how to do this because you're working with a bunch of women and you don't get it, Dad. So we had these conversations. And so that year, my first year, I tried to split the graph, people in production. Now, I don't even want to hear the comments y'all are saying back there. I can't imagine, even my own family, I can't imagine what they're saying. But one Christmas, I'm really proud that we were growing, and we had 35 to 40 employees now. I had to wear my overalls and working. And so we were going to have our annual Christmas party. And that we had a big metal building. It's not really heated that good. It's cold at Christmas time. And you're all bringing little potluck stuff. We had a little tree in the corner of this metal building. It's probably about twice the size of the stage. I thought I'm thinking maybe she'll show up. My gosh, she said she'd come. We had like, I don't know, 25, 30 people now. And Mary Crowley, that had this huge company, owns it, is going to come out to our party. Yeah. I was so a very single person. She looked like she was big. You're not dreaming big enough. Huh? Have you not seen this? Timmy, you're not dreaming big enough. She just gave me a little hug and she left. Let me tell you what. I was expecting something else. I was expecting Merry Christmas. Way to go. You're doing so good. You're not dreaming big enough. And when she told me that, and I sat down and I started thinking, at least in me, this thought that, okay, maybe I'm not dreaming big enough. Really? Is it this big? And I thought to myself, it must not be big. Mary Crowley told me, dream bigger. That unlocked in me a desire to fulfill and accomplish and to get bigger dreams. When I was allowed to do that, that opened up to me a whole new world in my attitude and my thought life that told me this wasn't enough. You can do more. If I'm going to tell you anything, I'm going to tell you all, dream bigger. Allow yourself, open your mind. See, you don't even have to clap. I'm telling you, don't get locked into this. It's good. Let somebody out here lead you and tell you that you can dream bigger. She said that to me. And the source of that meant something to me. Because I wouldn't have taken that from like Gail Foster. I would have taken that. I'll take it from Mary Crowley, who is the founder of Home Interiors and Gifts, who spent enough time with a little 21-year-old kid to come to his Christmas party where he thought he was something and to tell him he needs to dream bigger. She did me the biggest favor of my life. Mary Crowley didn't just mean something to Joan Danny Horner. She meant something to me. So how did I get here? You saw my parents. You saw how they got here, this route from. You heard their story. You found when they came to Dallas, they really had a great transformation in their spiritual life. God was really tracking them. And the good thing about them, they didn't run from it too much. good thing about being a Christian is if God's tracking you and has a plan for you, just do it because it's always the best. Let me tell you why I say that. Because I didn't want to be here. This wasn't the plan I had. This wasn't the plan for me to come last night and somebody give me this wonderful award. I do not even deserve to be on the same playing field with people like you and John Horner. And, and Elizabeth, I don't, Jeff Terrell, I don't, that's not even, I'm second team. Wasn't my plan. So how did I get here? Well, my parents, they retired, as you know, about age 60 or so. Dad was 18 years at Mary C. and Home Interiors, and so they were looking for something. It's the only letter, Dad, that you typed. You always wrote it. And this, I kept the original copy. Don't put it, there it is, find me, but hang on to it. What I said was, I confused him because I told him just kind of go with whatever I say. So he tried. I'm sorry. Sorry, Tommy. But the letter is right here. I put it in this plastic because I carried it around for me a lot. And I've read it and used it. Many of you know this. And it started to fray. And I said, well, protect this. This is important. You know, family, before Premier was even a thought in his brain other than it was a little idea about going into this kind of business. But he was trying to explain to the family. I want you to hear what he said. November the 5th, it's dated 1985. That was the founding of Premier. Here's what he said. Dear family, I want to be able to edit the letter. I don't want y'all read it.
We can't read it from here.
Okay, you got the idea? It's 3 pages long. That's what it looks like. Dear family, and it's titled, How Come to Do This? Question mark. Now, if y'all knew my mother, I can't imagine that's even a sentence. I'm not sure. His Canadian, she would always have to preface the letters. He didn't like it either. He says, it's okay, send it. No. She'd write, my mother. This is a letter, he said, to share with you what we're doing. You know why this is important? It's important because you got to know the founding of Premier, where it came from. If you don't believe what he said, you can believe what he told his family in 1985. Come on. He said, a year ago, I had this call. We had this and that. I started consulting with a company. I don't understand everything about it. And they approached me about a corporation. And he goes into his experience and his confidence. He says this, the goal. He says, our goal in starting this company, which really was just a seed, a thought in his mind, said this, our goal. Believe this, 1985, guys, we're not playing with you. Our goal would be to build another company based on the same philosophy, purpose, people-oriented service organization, which is Mary Christ Home Interiors. And he said, I believe it works. And this was really the best thing he ever told me and all of us. He said, my role will not be on stage. I'm not even making that up. That's the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life. You don't know him, you know. That was still a false humility. My role will not be one on stage. I laugh every time I read this. So the whole family laughs. But one of the setting of the culture, the goals, the guidance, the control of the finances, and developing leadership and training. Our prayer, it says a lot of things, but this is what I want you to hear. Our prayer is that some small way, this little jewelry company, in some small way, we can become in principle, a little Home Interiors. See, that's what we do then, Home Interiors. A company built on the same philosophies of service in the Bible. We will operate wisely, he says. We'll use good business acumen while trying to add something to every life we touch. That was 1985. It wasn't last month. It's been the same from the beginning. Now listen to this. We'll work hard to find our own people and develop them to reach their potential. Why was that significant? When I read that, I said, that's so right. You know what happens in direct selling? A lot of poaching goes on. Mm-hmm. Andy Horner said, we're going to find our own. We're not going to go over here. He had a list of Home Interior ladies who would have joined him in a heartbeat to start a new company. He accepted none of them. He said, no, we're not doing it that way. We're finding our own people. We're having integrity when we start a business. That was a principle that I so appreciated. We're fighting hard. We're developing to reach their potential. We'll operate with honor and ethics in all we do. It won't be easy. This total adventure is dedicated to the Lord. Period. From the beginning, that's what it is. So I'm here, and here's why I'm here. I'll tell you two things, and I want to say something. I got here kicking and screaming. You guys know that because you saw me a few years ago, and it was like, oh, this is painful watching that poor guy. It was much more painful on me, trust me. It's hard when you're doing something and you're not doing it all again. It's hard when you guys are just halfway doing this premier thing. Now, I don't mean you need to go 100 hours a week, but when you're all in, it's not about your time, it's about your heart and your mind. You're all in, you're committed. That's what it is. And so when I first came here, here's why I went all in. This company was never for us. The first thing we did, when Tommy and I heard about this, and we got this letter, we went over to the house, sat on the couch at their house, and Dad was trying to explain a little more to us. And he points his finger and he says, this is not to enrich the family, by the way. We're not doing it so we get rich. Well, we thought, I mean, just kind of looked. You've never done this before, Dad. We get up, we leave, say good luck with this, and we go outside and say, what are they doing? And we kind of have that conversation. We know better, of course, we're children, we're smarter than our parents, we always have been. And so we said, this isn't happening, don't worry, there's nothing for us to get. He didn't even tell us that because there was nothing there. So that was the beginning. After that, this thing starts to grow, God works it, then here we go. He's in his 80s and they start thinking about the next generation. I would have hoped he'd have thought a little sooner than 80-something, but he's thought about 85, he's thinking, we're going to think about the future. And so I'm over there, we founded Manufacturing 95, he taps it on my shoulder, come on, wow, let's talk about this a little bit in the future, and maybe you get involved, that kind of thing. Okay, I'll be by someday. We swing by, and we're passing in the hallway, and he says something. I said, okay, sure. And I walk by. And little did I know that little passing in the hallway, that okay meant that I had accepted the position as president. Not even kidding. That's about it. And here's why I know, because when we went to a Christmas party, and Peggy Sue showed up on the scene. Yes. And she showed up, and Mom had kind of manipulated her over Premier Manufacturing. I think she did. She did. And so we were invited to a Christmas party at their house. Listen to this, because some of you were there, and you know this story. And they were inviting us to a Christmas party. We sat at the back. I had no idea why I was there. I took Peggy with me. We were not married yet. We would be very soon, but she was there. And at this party, which they had several, where a lot of the home material people, all the ADs were there, if not all. They had the finance guy there, they had a lawyer there, they had people there for Premier. And Dad, as he does after dinner, he gets up, you've been in the house, many of you, the fireplace, he gets a podium, and then we're all just going to settle in, because this is going to be a while, because he's probably going, from Genesis. I'm telling you, we're all. It was good, Dad. It really was. I hope people get my jokes. I don't know. You over the top? Okay, I can't see his face. He may not be smiling. So I'm sitting at the back. And Peggy's there. And Dad's talking. He starts talking about the future. And he starts to mention names. And of course, he mentions Greg and Charles. All the people who have been so important to the company. And then he starts to slip in my name. He starts to say, Tim. And I'm perking up, and future here, and Tim this, and maybe Tim that. And by this time, I'm doing this. And within the next minute or so, I'm doing this. And my little sweet, blonde-headed woman, who was my date at the time, she's not my wife, she was sitting there, just grinning. She's grinning, and I look at her, she's like, what are you grinning about? And she says to me, isn't that sweet? They're talking about you. Isn't that sweet? I was thinking something else. And here's the worst part, but you know my dad does this all the time. And he's talking about something, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he says, now, and Tim, come up here and share with us what you're thinking. Where are you going? I was doing this, and I don't know, smoke was coming out of my ears. A very, very bad, awkward situation, because he thought I'd accepted something. I just thought we had a passing conversation in the hallway. And I had to get up there. This is what I want you to know, because I did not, when I said it coming willingly, I didn't, and it's not good. But I went up there and I said, you know, I said something like, it really was very short, and I'm not sure it was sweet. I just said, you know, this is, you know, you guys are getting really carried away. Merry Christmas. And all that sad. And as I walked down, Mom was sitting there, and I said, Mom, we have got to talk. And she looks up and says, you haven't talked? And then this look of, oh, I get it. And so me and Mom were tight. She got it. So I went, I said, we're going to talk. So I had this meeting. Dad, this is important. I want y'all to know this because you have this tremendous legacy of the Horn Event, the starters, and I'm kind of the backup. And I'm kind of in this transition role here, and we're going to make it, and we've got a whole new generation going. But you got to understand the heart. And when you understand why people do what they do, it's so much easier to accept their mess-ups. So much easier to understand. We know him. He's got a good heart. You know, it's that kind of thing. So we had this meeting. I asked my dad 2 questions. The only people in the house were my dad and my mom, and Mom was sitting by me. So Dad's over there by himself. That's a good sign, because Mom and I were tight. So I said, Dad, I got 2 questions for you. Number 1, it's really not a question, Dad, but I just want you to know you don't listen. I've heard that myself a few times. I said, Dad, you just, you know, listen. He goes, oh, yeah. He goes off on something. Yeah, it's going to be great. Me also, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Oh, yeah. And he goes, here we go, cheerleading time. I said, Dad, no, you don't listen. Mom's just sitting quietly, you know. And finally, I couldn't get his attention deeply. You know, he's kind of listening. I said, Dad, I got up. I promise you, I said, I just can't do this. So I got up. He's sitting over there, and I'm walking to leave. I said, I can't do this. And that stopped, and he goes, what? I mean, you're not going to get out of here. Sell ice to Eskimo, the same Eskimo every day of his life. There it is. I cannot do this. I knew myself. I'm walking away, and I looked at him. The Immaculate Generation couldn't see the Bible language very well. I said, oh, they're blurry. And so he couldn't really see me, that I was really serious. But I could tell at the moment he realized that he's serious. And so he got a little bit quiet, a little bit. Okay, hang on, Dad. Let's talk. I'm coming back. And I'll never forget. It's kind of a day in some ways lives in infamy with me, but I had one more question. The most important question any of you could ever ask. Position of Thor asked one question. This is important to you, and then we're going to wrap this up. I said, Dad, Mom. They would hesitate on the answer, and you'll know why. I was hoping I had to think about the answer to this. Then I would have my answer. I said, Dad, Mom, I said this, do you trust me? I said, do you trust me? You know me. Do you trust me? And I'm thinking, good, take your time. You know what? There was not a second's hesitation. They both said, yes, of course we trust you. As if that's a stupid question. but it meant everything to me because I knew I was going to mess it up. I knew I was having a learning curve. I knew my heart wasn't all in it. But when you have people who say they will trust you, you have any way you can. One last thing. When Mom passed away, this was really interesting. This is really what kind of sealed it for me. Mom passed away 2010. I told Dad at the funeral, I want you to be sure I get a Bible of Mom's. So that's the only thing I want. Just give me one of her Bibles. And she had several. I mean, she studied and read and had lots of Bibles like a lot of you. You used to have different versions of different Bibles. She had a bunch of them. And so it was months later, finally Dad comes to the office and he has this Bible wrapped up in it's a trash sack. I keep it in a Ziploc bag, but he had it like in one of these grocery store plastic bags with a rubber band around it. He said, "Here's the Bible you asked for." I said, "Good, thank you, no time." I didn't read it, I just set it down on my desk, wrapped up, said, "Good, thank you, Dad." And about 30 seconds later, he comes back in and he says, "Yeah, and I thought you would want one of mine too, so probably." Ain't it funny? I do, I want one, Dad, thank you so much. About a few months later, I open this Bible. Here it is. And inside, I start flipping through it. I just start flipping through it. She told me, number one, I'll tell you the truth. And number two, I will pray for you. Yay! Love Catherine. These, I could read everybody. But when I read that, I said, good grief. I wasn't interested. Look at you people encouraging me. Julie Miller and Greg, and oh my gosh, I'm not going to read them all, but thank you. You people, there's still in the room, all of these people. And so when I got this from my dad, he had no idea he'd given me this one he can't see. So he pulls a Bible up, throws this one in. I think a Bible that Mom intended to give me finally got to me after her death. At a moment when I was still thinking, this is not for me. Am I all in my little head or am I not? Can I handle this or not? And then boom, Dad hands me the Bible. Mom was gone, my connection was gone from her, and he hands me this, and my connection is right back. Let me read you one more thing. I want you to hear about this. Inside here, this is for you people who need to know where your presents come from. Here's a handwritten note to me. Not good to read. Handwritten notes from your mother when you know that when she's already gone. She left this for me. Here's what I want to leave with you. Okay, Jeremiah, she says, Tim, I have a favorite verse that I claim is the Lord's promise for you. She said a lot of other things. I want you to hear the verse because she knows me. How many of y'all mothers, you know your children, don't you? You know your children. They don't think you know them, but you know them. They don't want you to know them, but you know them. And you know them better than they know themselves. Now listen to the verse she picked for me. If you were going to pick a verse for your children, see if it'd be this one. Jeremiah 9:23-24. This is what the Lord says. She said, number one, let not the wise man gloat in his wisdom. Or the mighty man in his might. Or the rich man in his riches. But she was telling me, let them boast of this alone, that they truly know me and understand that I am Lord, who is just and righteous, whose love is unfailing, and that I, the Lord, delight in those things. And then she closes the whole 5 pages of note by saying, this is what the Lord says! Exclamation point. Now, that's my instructions from my mother. Those are my instructions as the president. How I got that, the time when I needed it, convinced me that, okay, God, we're here, I'm here, let's go. Let's move it on. And we have a future beyond me. So I'm here, we got to wrap this up. Dad's here, Mama's here, and we have another generation. So I want you here for just 5 minutes from Little Drew. Where's Little Drew? From Little Drew. sorry, guys. Drew, he's here to give you 5 minutes on why he's here. And what's his quick story? Here's why. Let me summarize for him, Drew. You got the Horners, you got the middle old guy going to Medicare, and you got another one coming because he loves you. Tell him why.
I'm nowhere near the Medicare. You guys have seen Premier Designs, you've seen like the heartbeat of this, and you've experienced God. I know that there's a lot of you here for the first time ever. Yeah, it's awesome. I've grown up in Premier Designs, so if you can only your life, you can only really fathom the impact it's had on me growing up and really molding my heart. My grandparents specifically, there's a story that I tell all the time. When I was 10 years old, my dad, down on one knee, asking that famous question, son, what do you want to do when you get older? And I'm looking at him like this. I remember exactly where I was in the hallway of our guest bedroom at the house. And I told him, I want to do what Papa does. And it's phenomenal to see that because I didn't see, and thank God, by the way, Papa, that your role was on stage because growing up, I remember you talking about built on biblical principles, and I remember your values that you've been standing on, and I remember seeing you love everybody that walked across the stage, and I remember seeing this firsthand as a servant leader, and that was my example. That's what I saw in a man. And when my parents got divorced when I was 8 years old, my grandmother filled that role of being a mom in my life. I don't really have the best relationship with my mom, and it's pretty phenomenal to see a grandmother say things like, keep it personal. And she would pull people in and talk to them one-on-one on the side of conversations as if she's known them for 30 years of her life and they're best friends. And she would do things that were just unreal at the house parties that they would have and put plates down and intentionally sit next to people she'd never talked to. And those types of actions that built relationships. And so I saw this foundation in my life through my grandparents. I experienced what Rally was doing in my life and growing up. And now I'm in Premier Designs. After I spent a season of life rodeo and traveling all over the country, which was an incredible time. And that's what I said the other day, is it's hard for me to answer what I do, but it's not hard for me to answer why I do it. And being in Premier Designs, it's I love the question. I really have a hard time saying, hey, people ask me what you do, but then the follow-up question is always, well, why did you do that? Why did you go from pursuing a career in rodeo into a jewelry company? And I love it because I'm well, let me tell you. And it's an opportunity for me to tell somebody that they're loved, that they have a heart, that they're designed and there's a purpose in their life. Premier Designs gives me the outlet to do what every person wants to do in their life, which is provide value into somebody else's life and to enrich other people's lives. And we see so much opportunity there. My granddad said year over year over year that Premier is needed now more than ever. I see friends of mine that walk into church as single moms. And I'm sitting there thinking, my goodness, you have so much opportunity. People love you. And I see other people that just need to be able to pay off debt or whatever it is. I'm sitting here thinking, gosh, Premier can do this for you. You can be a part of this. And I see people that have lost identity. They don't know who they are. And I'm let me introduce you to a jeweler. Let me show you these people that will show you so much more worth than just a piece of jewelry. Aisha Dudley says that we're changing lives one pair of earrings at a time, and it is so true. I love that saying. And so being a part of a company, and I promise I will only take my 5 minutes as much as I can, being part of a company that is giving purpose into people's lives, much greater than just helping them build a business or whatever it may be, but actually telling people that they're loved, showing them that they're loved, and having a true identity and a purpose that's changing the world in a much more needed now place than ever it has been is what I want to do in Premier Designs. And that's why I'm here, because I want my friends to see the love that I've seen my entire life. I want my friends to know that they have a purpose, that there's a mission far greater than what they even realize here at Premier Designs. And I want the world to see that.
Yeah! I wanted you to see, lest you forget the powerful legacy this company's been built on. It's not the Horners, it's the legacy of our biblical principles and the fact that we care about what we're doing, and it's not about profiting us, but profiting you and those you serve. So remember, we're on a strong legacy, and we're going to pray and build our own legacy. Is that clear? We're going forward. We're so happy that we can share with you the strength of your company and the shoulders upon which we stand. And Joan, Mary Crowley, and others of you. God bless you. Thank you. What a great morning that was, and to have Andy here makes it even so much better.